All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Dodger Faithful, the official LA Dodgers podcast of the JT Sports Network. I'm James Cirillo here with my guy Rune. Rune, how we doing today, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
We got a lot going on in LA sports right now, but specifically, our Dodgers are headed to the postseason once again. Every single season since 2013, we have been in the postseason. We have won the division 12 out of 13 of those years, so it's a good time to be a Dodgers fan. We're the reigning champs, but we got to defend our title. Tuesday is our first playoff game. Is there somebody you'd want to play out of the few teams that we could still play in the wild card round?
At this point, obviously it is between the Mets and Reds. I think if we're going roster for roster, I think I'd much rather play the Reds. I mean, the Reds have a couple of, sneaky good guys. You got your De La Cruz, you have former friend Gavin Lux, but
Yeah,
yeah, I think I'd rather play the Reds there. I mean, you look at the Mets, they have Juan Soto, who even in the down years still putting up some crazy numbers. They got Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso is always a threat, and they just have a good pitching staff too. And that's
I
been
don't know.
something.
I don't know how they're not higher in the
Yeah,
standings
I
because
I
Pete
don't either.
Alonso has almost 120 RBIs. Soto's having a 40-30 season. Lindor's having a 30-30 season. I don't know how they're not higher in the standings. I didn't expect them to be as good as Philly this year. I actually thought Atlanta would be better than them too, but Atlanta just had a horrible year. But I would much rather play the Reds as well if we had to choose. Either way, it's a best of three series. It scares me either way because anybody can beat anybody in a best of three series. We see it happen from March all the way to September. Anybody can beat anybody. The Rockies could beat us 2 out of 3. It doesn't matter who it is. That happens all season long. So it's definitely nerve-wracking to have a best of three series when you win your division. I'm not a fan of that. Are you a fan of the playoff format?
You know, I kind of wish it was a little more like the NFL's. You get only the one seed gets the bye, but I think the Dodgers were we the one seed or the two seed last year?
We were the 1 seed last year
We were
with
the one seed
98
last year.
wins.
That's yeah. But this is speaking of wins. I think we kind of talked about this a couple days ago. But I remember it was actually you that brought up the point that if the Dodgers didn't have a struggling bullpen, this could have been a 100-win team. I mean, pretty
Oh,
easily in
100%.
my opinion. There's definitely 20 games where the Dodgers are probably up like what, like 2, 3 runs. Bullpen just comes in, gives it up like that, and it's
Yeah.
it's really frustrating, but I mean, it's baseball.
Yeah. It's frustrating because, and I hate to point fingers or put anybody on the spot here, but Tanner Scott himself has blown 10 saves this year. Let's say he blew 2 instead of 10 and he had a good year. He only blew 2 saves. That's 8 more wins. So if we finish with 92 wins, that's 100 right there if he didn't blow 8 of those saves. If he didn't blow all 10 of them, we'd be over 100 wins. So not to say that, oh, the whole season is on Tanner Scott, it's all his fault. It's not all his fault. It's on the entire bullpen for the most part. And sometimes it's on the lack of run support for certain pitchers. I feel like finally the other day when they clinched the division was the first time in forever Yamamoto actually got some run support.
That always happens to him, and it makes me mad for Yamamoto because you'll see Yamamoto absolutely dealing. He'll go like 7-6 scoreless, and really just you'll see no production out of anybody except sometimes it's just the bottom of the lineup that wants to get like little singles, doubles, but then you have Otani, Betts, Freeman come up, and you think something big's gonna happen, and Otani either hits into a double play, strikes out. Same thing with Betts, so
Yeah.
it's frustrating, but baseball's a game where you can be up and you can be down in the same season and still finish winning the World Series, and it's just kind of how it works.
I mean, all of last year I felt this way where I was like this team, we're gonna blow it in the playoffs again. Here we go. I mean, it seems like all year long, like, there's these dull moments where we're blowing games or we're not coming through in clutch situations. And it felt like we should have had way more wins than we really had. Going into last year's postseason, I had no idea what to expect. But the thing is, I feel the same way right now where I'm like, this team should have had way more wins. This should have been a 100-win team at least, and it's going to be disappointing to see how they play in the playoffs. I feel the same way how I felt last year, but then last year they go on and win the World Series. They come back after being down 2-0 or 2-1 to San Diego, and they find a way to go all the way. Can't really complain, but I feel the same way. Hopefully it turns into another World Series title, but The main reason I want them to win is for my guy, Kershaw. He's my favorite athlete ever, and I've played baseball my whole life. I even copied his windup, and he's always been my favorite. So, how do you feel about Kershaw announcing his retirement?
It's really a tough pill to swallow, and a lot of that is because I was born in 2009. He debuted in what, 2008, 2009, maybe,
Yeah,
or maybe even before that. But
it was
Kershaw has been,
2008.
yeah, Kershaw has been a Dodger my entire existence. And seeing somebody who's been with your team for that long, just suddenly you see he's going to leave. And it's something that I think every Dodger fan's kind of anticipated that was going to happen, but just actually seeing the announcement, it was just damn, like,
Yeah. I literally looked at my phone like this. Like, I was so shook. I was so upset. But yeah, like you said, I mean, I was born in 2005, but he's been a Dodger basically my whole life. I started following the team in like 2011. He's been a Dodger for as long as I can remember. So it's gonna feel no matter what happens in the postseason this year, next year, 2026, opening day when they announce that roster and Kershaw's not out there, that is going to be devastating. I think it really hasn't hit me yet. But like if we either get eliminated and we don't win the World Series, I think it'll hit me then. If we win the World Series, it's gonna wait till like opening day next year. It's gonna finally hit me and be like, Kershaw's really not out there. Like for me, it's happened a few times where like our Rams after Aaron Donald retired, it felt so weird not having number 99 out there, right? I think it's going to be a similar feeling
yeah,
to not having number 22 out there for the Dodgers. You know what I mean?
yeah. What's crazy about both Kershaw and Aaron Donald, I both found out about them at school, and
Really?
that's almost worse than finding. Well, it's kind of worse than finding out at home because you really can't. You can't really. You kind of just got to look at it and be like, huh. Yeah, I remember Aaron Donald retires. I'm in my freshman year math class. I look up from my phone, or yeah, I don't look up from my phone. I look at my phone and I just see Aaron Donald retiring. I have like notifications from all my friends and I'm just like, wow. And it's kind of weird because really Aaron Donald had shown no signs of like, hey, I'm going to retire this year. He kind of just retired out of
Yeah.
nowhere. Kershaw, you could kind of feel he was going to retire at any year now. You just didn't know when.
Yeah. Yeah. I always had that feeling about Kershaw, like you said. Like I had a feeling this might be his last year, just because like if you look at the All Star game, he was put in the All Star game. He kept the ball when he came out of the game because it was like his maybe his last All Star game. So there were definitely signs of him retiring after this year, but it didn't hit me until I actually saw the announcement. I opened up Instagram and it's just a picture of him with like words and there's no caption from the Dodgers Instagram. And I'm like, no, like I was so heartbroken. But this team needs to realize like there's no other year that like any other year, of course the goal is to win the World Series and you want to win the World Series and pretty much any year you could say we have to win this year. But if there's any year that you have to win the World Series for a specific reason, it's this year so Kershaw can go out on top. If he could go out a three-time World Series champion after all the hate he gets for being a postseason choker, if he could go out with 3 rings, that kind of debunks the argument that he's a postseason choker if he's won 3 championships. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's my take.
Yeah, and speaking of Kershaw in the playoffs, is there really any concerns you have about Kershaw's new role, which will be out of the bullpen for the playoffs?
So I do have a bit of concerns about that because if you look at Kershaw the last few years, his worst inning is always his first inning. Like he'll give up a run or two in the first and then he's fine for like 5 or 6 innings. So him coming out of the bullpen, I don't love because you're probably only going to throw 1 inning. So his worst inning would just be that inning, I feel like. Now I could be wrong because the other night he came out of the bullpen, he threw 1 inning and he looked fine. He threw a 1, 2, 3 inning. So I could be completely wrong, but it does worry me a little bit because if he comes in a close game, let's say it's 3-3, he comes in like the 7th or 8th inning, and he even if he gives up 1 run, that could be the game right there. And that's not that bad, but that's normally his worst inning is his first inning. So I have my concerns, but we're talking about, and in my opinion, I don't know how you feel about this, but we're talking about the greatest pitcher of all time, in my opinion. I think Clayton Kershaw is the greatest pitcher to ever do it. I have 2 career ERA in the modern era. It's the lowest ERA, career ERA in modern era history. I think he's the best to ever do it. So if you are the best to ever do it, I think you're going to find a way to do it no matter what happens. So I have my concerns, but at the end of the day, it's Clayton Kershaw. He'll find a way to get it done.
Yeah, winners find a way to win, and
That's right.
we saw with the Rams, we saw with Aaron Donald making that play to force Joe Burrow
Yep,
to an incompletion to steal the Super Bowl.
exactly.
And I think we'll see something similar, probably not as big of a magnitude, but I think Kershaw will be a significant part if we go deep in these playoffs, which I think we will. I think if we're playing a struggling Mets team or an inexperienced Reds team, I think we make it past the first round. And that's just
Yeah.
on paper. Anything really can happen because we're still a couple days away. But I mean, do you really think the loaded Dodgers are going to lose to an inexperienced Reds team? I mean, I wouldn't say so, but I mean,
I don't think we will. It just worries me because anybody can beat anybody in a best of three
yeah,
series, like I was saying. Like we see it all year long. Like the Rockies could beat the Dodgers 2 out of 3. We got swept by the Pirates this year. Obviously, the Pirates aren't even a playoff team. They swept us
yeah,
3 games in a row. All you got to do is win 2. So it worries me no matter who we're playing, but I do think we'll get past that round. But if we get past that round, we have a big test, and I think it's our biggest test of the whole postseason, the Philadelphia Phillies. If we play the Phillies, I think the winner of that series, I don't want to say the winner of that series is going to win the World Series, but I think those are my 2 favorites, the Dodgers and Phillies. So if they
yeah.
do play each other in the NLDS, whoever wins that series will be my pick to win the whole thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I felt with last year's second round Dodgers Padres was
Yeah.
I hated to say it because I don't like the Padres at all, but
Mhm.
I would tell my brother, I'd tell my dad, I'd just be like, I think the winner of this series is going to the World Series. And
Yeah, of
what happened? The Dodgers came back, of course, you said earlier, from 2-1, then went on to beat the Mets and went on to beat the New York Yankees and
course.
won ring number eight. Number eight?
Number
Yeah.
8. That's right.
Number eight.
That was
Well,
that
we're
was great
looking
for me.
for we're looking for number 9 this year.
Number
Back to
9.
back World Series titles would feed families.
Now, that leads to the question, if they
Wouldn't
do
feed
win
any
this year.
families in San Diego or San Fran though.
No.
That's the thing. Not at all.
Of course not. But that leads to the question. If the Dodgers do hypothetically go on to win the World Series in 2025, they win their second in a row, they win their third in the span of 6 years. Is this a dynasty? 3 rings in 6 years. Do you consider that a dynasty?
You know, I know MLB counts it and I know a lot of Dodger fans count it. If it was up to me, I wouldn't count the 2020 World Series as much. I kind of would put an asterisk on it.
Really?
It was 60 or was it 60 or 80 games?
It was
It's just
60.
it's kind of like the Astros World Series. Like if I was an Astro fan, I would be like, I don't like how we won that World Series. I mean, of course, it's a World Series, but winning World Series in a 160 game season is so much sweeter. But even if it's still a dynasty. It's a dynasty. We've been good. We've been pretty much consistently the best team in baseball for over 5 years now. So I think it is a
Yeah.
dynasty.
So you don't think the 2020 championship should count?
I think it should count. I don't like looking at it. I don't
Really?
really like because we get a lot of disrespect for it, of course, because I mean we're the Dodgers, we get disrespect
Yeah.
pretty much just for existing. But I feel like if any team, I feel like if the Rays won that World Series, everybody would be celebrating. Everybody would be like, "Congratulations!" But
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. If
it was really just a weird season, and I
It was a weird season, but you gotta keep in mind that although it was 102 less games in the regular season, to me, my argument is always this. It wasn't like the Dodgers were the only team that
yeah,
only had to
that's
play 60 games. Everybody still played the same amount of games, just like a regular season. Wasn't anybody's fault that there was a global pandemic going on. And you look at the playoffs, right? We had to play a best of 3 wildcard round against the Brewers as the 1 seed with no fans in Dodger Stadium. We win that series. Then we sweep the Padres. We don't get home field advantage. We don't get home field advantage against the Braves in the NLCS. We don't get home field advantage against the Rays in the World Series. And we were the number 1 seed, got no home field advantage, and we still ran the whole thing. In my opinion, I think that title is actually more impressive than the average World Series championship. And I'm not saying that because it's the Dodgers. I'm not saying that because I bleed Dodger blue. I'm saying that because you're going through a lot off the field during a global pandemic. You have to worry about your health, your family's health, all of that, and you're still going to work every day trying to win a championship. And the fact that people say, oh, it's Mickey Mouse, it doesn't count, it drives me crazy because if that was their team, it would count. Like you said, if it was the Rays that won that World Series, everyone would be like, oh, like, congrats to the Rays, their first World Series title. But because it was a team like the Dodgers, a popular team that nobody likes besides Dodger fans, people aren't going to give them credit. And people did the same thing in 2024 when we won. Oh, well, they bought half the league, so it doesn't count. People are going to find an excuse every single year. If it's a team they don't like, people are going to find an excuse for it. So to me, it counts just as much, if not more, than a normal World Series championship. But obviously, 2024 counts, and hopefully 2025 will count as well, and we can win 3 in the span of 6 years. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and kinda I'm just a people pleaser, that's kinda how I am, so when I have people that I know that aren't Dodger fans, they'll be Giant fans, Padre fans, even Yankee fans, they'll be like, "Mickey Mouse ring," I'll be like, "Okay, okay, well,
Yeah.
I count it as a World Series, just at the end of the day, I count it, I just don't like looking at it."
It's funny because if you ever have a Padres fan tell you 2020 doesn't count, just remind them that their fans threw like a parade after winning the wild card round
Yeah,
that year.
that's
So if our World Series doesn't count, then I guess them making it to
yeah.
the NLDS for the first time in like 10 years doesn't count either.
Yeah.
So
They throw parades for wild card appearances. We celebrate winning the National League West like it was regular game.
yeah,
I mean, until we got into the clubhouse. In the clubhouse, we had a damn slip and slide in there.
yeah,
That was
that
that
was
was
crazy. The thing is between the difference between the Padres and the Dodgers, when both teams clinched a playoff appearance, not the NL West, but just a playoff appearance this year, the Dodgers did a little champagne toast. They're like, all right, we got more work to do, but we can have a little celebration. The Padres went nuts. The Padres were a few games back for the division. They clinched a postseason spot. They were spraying champagne and going crazy. Dodgers weren't doing that because they know the job's not finished. That's the difference. There's levels between this. There is a big difference between the Dodgers and the Padres. The Dodgers are a much classier organization that knows when and when not to celebrate and go over the top. The Padres, they're happy with a wild card spot. We're not. We want more than that. Our goal is to win one of these once again. If their goal is to just make the playoffs, that's fine. But we want the bigger picture. And honestly, I see a world where the Dodgers and Padres play each other in the NLC, and that is going to be a stressful series.
yeah, and I'm gonna hate watching that series if it is a series because it's kind of like how I hated watching the Rams play the Eagles. I hate the Eagles.
Hmm.
And just seeing them succeed, even if it's for 10 seconds, even if it's for like 1 second, it just drives me insane. It really does. And uh last year it drove me insane. I was like, are the Padres really gonna beat us? Are we gonna have to hear shit from them for another whole year?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we
I mean,
got it
after
done.
2022, they beat us in the NLDS. You would have thought they won the World Series, and they still didn't win
Yeah.
anything. They didn't win the division. They didn't win a pennant. They didn't win a World Series. They won nothing, and they still acted like they won the World Series when they beat us, because that is their World Series when they play the Dodgers. For us, it's just another rivalry. For them, it's their goal when they acquired Mason Miller at the deadline, they literally told him, like, we don't like the Dodgers, you have to beat them. That was their message to him. Like, come on. Like, there's a bigger picture here. That's all I'm saying. But if we take a look at the American League, is there a team, like, let's say we can't get ahead of ourselves and say who would you want the Dodgers to play in the World Series because they haven't gotten there yet. But who's your favorite or your pick to come out of the American League and play in the World Series?
You know, it's tough because a lot of the teams in the American League are kind of up and down and up and down. Like the Blue Jays were looking like the best team in the American League a couple weeks ago. Now they're tied with the Yankees for first.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go the easy route here and say the Yankees because I'm not high on the Yankees really
Okay.
because Anthony Volpe sucks. He sucks. But I think a sneaky team could be the Red Sox, maybe.
Okay. I
That's
like
a
that.
dark that really is a dark horse though.
It is, but I
Mm,
like that. I would have to go with the Yankees just because I think now they've gotten over the hump of getting to the World Series. I don't think that's a problem for them anymore. I think they get back this year. I think there might even be a rematch. I said this on the table, our other show here at the JT Sports Network. I'm predicting a rematch between the Yankees and Dodgers. It's either, in my opinion, it's either going to be Yankees Dodgers or Yankees Phillies. Which Yankees Phillies, the world might come to an end if that's the World
Oh my
Series,
god,
but
yeah.
especially me
Well,
living on the East
that'll be
Coast.
like watching, that'll be like watching Chiefs Eagles again, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty
Except I
much.
actually I like it's kinda I used to like the Eagles, like, as a team. I still kinda do, I still kinda do. If I'm looking at them just as a team, I kinda like them, but it's all about their fans, and that's a lot of why some people don't like the Dodgers. Part of it's the success, but a lot of it is because there is a large majority of Dodger fans that are just terrible fans, and it's
Yeah.
hard to accept, but at the end of the day, you just gotta accept it, and when people say the Dodgers have bad fans, you just gotta be like, "Yep, a lot of our fans are bad," but it's really true Dodger fans are some of the best fans on earth.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't think you could even make the argument that the Dodgers have a bad fan base because you go to any away game. I go to Dodgers Phillies every year. Sometimes I'll go to Dodgers Mets because I'm on the East Coast. You go to any Dodger game on the road, there's plenty of Dodger blue in those seats. The Dodgers have probably the most fans. It's them and the Yankees have the most fans. I don't know what the technical numbers would be on because nobody would be able to figure that out. But those are the two teams with the biggest fan bases. And if you go anywhere to a road game, there's plenty of Dodger fans. And I went to Baltimore a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, I was at that game, the
Yeah, no.
almost no hitter. I was
Yeah,
at that game, unfortunately.
I watched that game live, and
Mhm.
I couldn't. That was I think that is literally the worst moment of the year,
Absolutely,
without
absolutely.
a doubt.
I think we experienced one of the worst regular season losses for the Dodgers and Rams in the span of like 3 weeks. Rams, Eagles, and then Dodgers, Orioles with the almost no hitter. Like that was rough. That's a rough stretch to be an LA sports fan.
I was
So
forgetting about that game until you just brought it up. I was forgetting about Dodgers Orioles, man.
yeah, that was not a fun. It was a fun game to be at. It was until the last like 10 minutes, and then as soon as I saw Tanner Scott jogging in from the bullpen, I'm like, oh no, no. And I'm not even like a Tanner Scott hater. I'm not. I like to support any Dodger, but he's had a rough year. Hopefully, he can turn it around when we get closer to the postseason. But I mean, back to what I was saying about Dodger fans. I even had one time a few years ago. I was at a Phillies game. I'm wearing my Muncie jersey, and this guy goes, "Yo, Muncie." I turn around and it's this older man. He's a Phillies fan. He comes up to me. He was like, "I was in Dodger Stadium earlier this year, and I just want to let you know that your fan base is incredible. Like those fans, like they came up to me. They welcomed me into the stadium, even though I was a Phillies fan, and they were so polite to me. They were so kind. I loved it. It was a great experience." And I was like, "I've never been out to Dodger Stadium, but I can believe you. People say that's like the Disney World of baseball stadiums." Like, I think that's awesome that another fan, especially a Phillies fan who they have such a bad reputation, Philly sports fans, that a Philly sports fan came up to me and said those kind words was pretty awesome. I thought that was pretty sick. This was like 2023, I want to say. He came up to me. He didn't have to say anything to me, but he came up to me. He was really kind. It was awesome. So I've always considered Dodger fans to be the best fans in sports. I really do. But I think of course it matters about the guys on the field as well. Are there any guys that you're worried about, or guys that maybe the opposite you're not worried about, but you're looking forward to seeing play in the postseason?
I don't want to see the Brewers at all. I
Okay.
don't. They're a powerhouse. I don't wanna see 'em at all. Guys I do wanna see, I want to see the Padres just so we can beat them.
Yeah.
Of course, beating the Padres would be sweet. Of course, we wouldn't raise a banner in our
Yeah.
stadium if we beat them in a playoff series, but,
Yeah.
rumor has it the biggest thing in the Padres trophy case is a banner that says "Wild Card Champions," or was
Yeah.
it Wild Card? Yeah,
2022 divisional
yeah.
round, they beat
Oh, it's
us. Yeah.
divisional, yeah.
We beat the Dodgers in brown
Never
and
have I
gold.
turned a sporting like, never have I turned a game off so fast, like, after the last thing happens.
My
Like,
gosh, that was
as soon as Freddie Freeman swings and misses, TV's black.
for me, it was kind of the opposite. I literally, as soon as he swung a miss, I sat there like this, like, and I sat there until literally like this, just staring at a black screen until 3 in the morning. I was so devastated. I couldn't believe we lost. It was heartbreaking, but hopefully the Dodgers can make a run for it. And this same time next week, you guys will be listening to us hear about how we advance to the wild card round and how we're playing the Phillies. And hopefully we'll even be up in the series against the Phillies. So that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Arun, any last thoughts?
I do wanna say something kinda going back to Philly fans. Not every Philly fan is, a piece of shit. Of course, I know you're a Flyer fan.
Yeah, I am. That's right.
If I did, I watch a tad bit of hockey. I really only watch hockey when it comes, to playoff hockey. I just don't
Hmm.
really follow hockey like that. I would probably be a Kings fan, of course,
Yeah.
LA. I like the Oilers because my hometown, Bakersfield, California, we actually have a minor league hockey team,
Oh,
Bakersfield
okay.
Condors, who feed
Nice.
into the Oilers organization, so I like them too. Yeah, there's nice Philly fans, but sometimes it's kinda like finding a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I hear you. I
just
love,
wanna say that because I know somehow some Philly fan will see this. They're everywhere on the internet.
oh, yeah.
I
Oh,
I
yeah.
they spread like a virus somehow, but I not every Philly fan sucks, I will say that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can say that about any fan base, really. Like,
Yeah.
Yankees, I don't like their fans, but there are good Yankee fans. Like my grandfather and my mom are Yankee fans. I don't consider them bad Yankees fans, but yeah, I mean, you could say that about a lot of fan bases that maybe don't get a reputation, but it's not every single fan. So, but I do like your take on saying you like the Kings because they beat the Rangers in the Cup in 2014, and I am a diehard Rangers hater. So I was very happy when the Kings won. You would have thought I was a Kings fan when they won. So
I didn't
that was great.
watch the game winning goal live, obviously. I think I was probably like 5 when it happened,
Yeah.
but I'll see the clip every once in a while, immediate goosebumps.
It's electric. It's electric.
The crowd, the goal horn, hockey
Yeah,
really has a great atmosphere, and
it
nobody
does.
talks about it.
Yeah. That it's neck and neck with the MLB for the best postseason. It really is. Hockey playoffs is great. But yeah, that'll do it for this episode. Rune, thank you so much for coming on and doing
Yep.
this with me. I think it was a very successful first episode here, at Dodger Faithful. If you guys want to follow the JT Sports Network, you can do so here on YouTube, or you could do that on Instagram. It's just JT Sports Network is the username, and that's where you can find all the clips here of Dodger Faithful. So thank you guys so much for listening to this episode, and we will see you guys next week. See ya.